You used to have to go to rehab if you smoke marijuana, and then you get labeled with a mental condition and all this stuff. And then for decades, there's a whole bunch of people, maybe I was one of them, who fought for people's right to have that legalized. And now you don't go to a government rehab center if you get weed, get caught with weed. And the police don't throw away all the money you just spent either. And it's perfectly legal. Yeah, so I think we still got some problems. And I think this is a system here where even once these things are made illegal to then crack down on it, they're opened up legally with a huge government tax on them. So not only was the government taking $10,000 from taxpayers for every person who enters rehab, or $30,000 to $50,000 per every person in rehab, or and at the mental ward, I guess it's $100,000 each person the government was making off of, along with their hospital systems. And let's see, I keep telling you that the hospitals have the same gang signs as the people who, as the racial religion that owns the government. And I really think they're working together because guess what? They are. So they are. And they also use, they don't just use drugs against citizens. In fact, I think they learned this. Although they probably learned this thousands of years ago by poisoning wells of cities of people they want to kill off back in the day. And then there was this thing they wrote about where they put a mark on your door if you accepted to worship them. And those people in those houses didn't die, but the people did not accept the mark in those houses died of a plague. Something like COVID, possibly. And, well, then we have the opium wars where they waged war against China by producing lots of opium and taking it over there and trying to subdue the culture and stuff, and then jack the prices up too. Whether they actually subdue the culture or not, I don't know. If you get you're using too much of that stuff. I get hyped up off that stuff. Maybe it's because it's a painkiller, and I get given it for being able to go work out and stuff and ignoring injuries. But no, I don't think that's it. But I think the effect of it allows me to not care about the injuries. That's for sure. But so they use that against China, and you know how much they hate China. Like everything is a yellow person's fault, and if it's not a black person's fault, or a white person's fault these days. But for a while, everything was the yellow person's fault. Just don't talk about it. Everything was black person's fault, but yellow people were apparently in control or something of the world. I don't know. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And so there's always been this war against this group of people, and everyone's at war. And so that was like a couple hundred years ago they waged the opium war against external populations. And then I'm assuming when prohibition started in the USA, they began waging a war against internal populations and making it so they're people. And when you look at them, look at the gangsters. The gangsters look a lot like these groups who run the hospitals and the governments, don't they? Al Capone. Obviously, if the people in Hollywood are them, then Al Pacino would look like one of them, because I can't help but see that there's a connection here to outlawing a drug, making $100,000 per person you catch with it, and then when people get fed up with it and finally decide to go to war with it. See, with alcohol, people drink alcohol, and you weren't going to mess with drunk people because they can get violent. So the other drugs are a little easier to take away from people without them going to war. But with prohibition, it was like, I don't know what, like 10 years, and you had Al Capone and stuff, right? They were waging the war. Those people are providing the drugs all over the board. They don't even necessarily have to use them, but I'm sure it had something to do with alcohol making people violent, actually fighting for their right to get it back. That it only took 10 years to get it back because they pretty much had outlawed a whole bunch of stuff. And like now, I guess the stuff they called snake oil salesmen back in the day were opiate salesmen. And it really was like a cure all because that's what it does. And um, so they didn't like that, and they must have painted that wrong. But nowadays, they sell it right across the street at 18 different places within 2 blocks of my house. As long as they've paid the government $1 million in school fees and tuition fees, and the government school system as well, those fees, and then got licensed, only provide it to other people who can afford to go pay $10,000 to go get a bottle of snake oil pills. And then if you're on the street and if you're just a poor person, the second you get a hold of a bottle of snake oil pills, you can't afford that insurance, $10,000 a year, and then the pills are $100 on top of it. You might as well just buy the pills off the street for $100. And then they just jack the price up. It looks pretty simple what they do with this stuff. It's an intricate system. You're telling me that the people who are bombing people in the Middle East to steal land, they bomb the Native Americans to steal their land, they're bombing the Ukrainians to steal their land. They waged an opium war. It's called the Opium War because that's exactly what it was. It was a war using opium. And then in the Middle East, they're bombing. They're burning down the opiate fields, and then they replanted them in the UK. So they take that product away, that cash crop away from the Middle East. And then they outlaw it so only USA can have control of snake oil. And it's such a popular product, everyone wants it. It's just like weed, it's just like alcohol. It's like a part of life. They put wine in the aqueducts in Rome. That means all the water had wine in it. That way it would kill the bacteria and stuff in it. And, well, looks like they grew up drinking alcohol over the ages. That's hard to tell when there's a bar on every corner and then a store right behind the bar selling alcohol on every corner as well. Or a little convenience store with an alcohol aisle on every corner. All three are on every corner. Right, and one of them selling alcohol and the pills and the drugs. And soon the corner stores are going to be selling that, the marijuana and stuff. I do that already on the West Coast. It's slow to get around here for some reason. Yeah, hey, it looks like a scam system. I mean, I'm pissed. I've fought in this stuff for a long time, but I'm pissed at some of the stuff still being there because I don't like wasting my life with other people. What am I going to do? I'll spend all day in a waiting room, go, once a month, whatever. Once a month is too much. To spend one day going to talk to doctors. What the hell do I need to go to a doctor for? First of all, they got those damn cult symbols, the satanic, Christian, atheist cult symbols, Judaic symbols, the Abrahamic symbols, all over the damn place. It feels like I'm fucking going into a goddamn witch's chamber who have been following me. And magically at the same time, sometimes when they show me their little magic shit, I end up permanently injured afterwards and stuff. And that's called voodoo and Christianity in encounters I've had. So I'm not very fond of understanding that this group is enslaving humanity from the top down in every nation in the world, pitting the nations that they battle, that they own against one another to call the populations when they get out of hand, and then using these tricks to rob and scheme and steal The war on drugs, not, there's still a war. It's not legal. I mean, it's legal, but that's all it is, right? It's legal with a fee. You got to pay. It's the mafia. It's literally the same people. The religions, the mafia, the governments, the global government. Same exact people. Put pictures of them beside each other. Why do you think Google doesn't let me post a video just simply pointing out the pictures of everyone who owns everything? Because it's that easy. You just put their faces right next to each other and they're like, damn, they're not even brothers. They're twins. And Elon Musk, boy, such free internet there. Elon Musk, Google, and Facebook, and Russia Today. Oh, man. And Hollywood, and ABC, NBC, CBS. Huh. Wow, so they have control of they control these drugs. They force them on you, too. They also force, when you go to the rehab, right, they force a new drug on you. A new drug. And probably shitty drugs designed to kill you, because that's what their, yarmulke psychology system by the pedophile Freud, yarmulke wearing motherfucker. That's what they do. They sell drugs, and then they're working under the government to outlaw drugs, so they can have a job in a nice cushy mansion, a nice Lexus to drive around, and then they call the other people are trash because they spend all their money on this stuff that they're working for a system to outlaw and rob them with and stuff. This is just like protection fees and stuff. When it becomes legal and they start putting a high tax on it, it's pretty much like a protection fee. It literally is, right? Right? They say, oh, because we got to make sure it's pure and all that stuff. It's like, well, if people wouldn't buy garbage, if there's better than garbage available, if they didn't have to fight to transport something over 2,000 miles and it become a real high value commodity like diamonds, another thing that jewelers run. Look at that scheme. They just go into nations, kill the people, put them on boats and chains and take them to other nations to sell them as slaves. And then they steal their diamond mines. Oh my God, how did Elon Musk get all his money? Oh, because his family owns those stolen mines. Oh, congratulations. Now you know why he's rich. He doesn't talk about it enough. He should. He should bring out, why doesn't he show us some of his diamonds? You know why? Because they're smart enough not to use their own trash. Why would he wear a handful of diamonds he gets for free when he could sell them for a camera in a studio in Hollywood to make fucking fake videos about places that probably don't exist and desert planets and stuff? Probably. Oh, what? Yeah, I mean, you can't trust the word they say already, right? I think I just proved that to you. So why would we trust anything they say or do after that? Well, I'll tell you what, man. I think that the things I see happening in some sort of game world, and there's like objectives and goals and a purpose to being in the game. And usually a game is to defeat some evil people, the Koopa Kingdom. And this game, Earth game, magically is ran by the Koopa Kingdom, isn't it? The hospitals, the dope dealing, the governments, the government above the government, the local government below the federal government, and probably the state government too. I don't know if I fully looked into that. I guess maybe that is actually the only one I looked into. But no, I definitely looked into all levels there. So, I mean, it is what it is. And then and then they're running the wars in the Middle East. Admittedly, these wars for 100 thousands of years in the Middle East have always been about these cults, this racial, religious, ethno cult, uh, Satanism, Abrahamic Christianity, atheism, scientism. So you notice they got to keep shedding their skin because no one wants the last version of them. Supposedly they get kicked out. They go somewhere and they get kicked the fuck out for it. And so that's probably why they had to start making up a new religious racial group. Probably, who knows? Maybe the Nazis really were like. I think they were just designed to invent Israel, and then Hitler and pals wanted to kill the Germans. Just like Ukraine. I mean, Zelensky's one of them. How's the Nazis going to worship him? Who the hell? I mean, what type of bot Nazis are these who would even follow an Israeli like Zelensky? What the hell shit is that? I think that's part of the game, though. It's just the Koopa Kingdom has their water world minions, and then they have their grassland minions, and blah, 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 blah. But yet, they're not Koopa, and they ain't nowhere near it. Best bet I can come up with, especially with seeing all the stuff up here. It's like, come on, man. They be trying to tell me it's a dream world, and it's like, oh, I don't know. I think there's a lot of things happening here that were set in stone, and I don't know if I knew anything about some of these things when I was young, but then again, as early as I can remember, I did, so, you don't know. I'm pretty sure it's not just a dream world, because there's a lot of stuff. It's got all the qualities of the game. It even reflects games. It even shows you games in the game. But anyways, so there's people out there who fought for years, decades, to legalize marijuana. Meanwhile, the governments, the hospitals, the city, state, federal, were raking in trillions of dollars. Why didn't they pay all this debt for it? What, they spent it on cocaine themselves? They're like, oh, this is garbage weed. Let's burn it. Let's go buy the good stuff from our friend Pablo Escobar. And then they use that as an excuse to go kill these other people too, like the Asians. Or that was a little bit different. That's they're poisoning the well. That's how they poison the well. They literally will poison your entire nation's food. They will sell you drugs at the hospital and tell you it's great and working and all that stuff. And then they'll sell you the cure for that once that problem arrives and all that stuff. And technically, they're back to selling snake oil. And that's their biggest seller. That's such a big seller. They're burning down fields in the Middle East. They're sending tanks and bombers and soldiers to burn down the cash crop of the Middle East, so they can jack the prices up, so they can have a monopoly, and it doesn't mean you're free, because you're fucking enslaved here too, because they're running the war against the people here too. They're not bombing you because they're sissies. I mean, really, if I want to be an evil person doing stuff like that, they just kill everybody. You're the vagina. They're like, we like that money, though. It's not really about the deaths. We just kill people because they get in the way of everything, and everything is ours. In fact, we're going to have to hire someone else to kill for us. We're going to have to hire the Roman Empire, or some mercenaries, or some Blackwater or something. We're going to have to hire the USA military to work for us, and something like that. And go burn down those opium fields for us so we can raise the price and then get a large kickback. Every time we arrest someone, everyone's going to make a lot of money. There's going to be, each person we arrest with some of this, for just a little bit, that's going to be $200,000 that the taxpayers are funding hospitals, mental workers, rehab workers, An entire propped up system. How much of this, this reminds me of one thing I keep seeing. How much of this world is just fake labor, made up labor that doesn't have to exist? But it's like just designed to keep people busy so I don't know, so they don't stick their fingers in their butt and fling poop at other people or something. I don't know. I mean, they're not doing the rest of the stuff for positive purposes. The opium war against China isn't for positive purposes. I really doubt they're like, oh my God, you never heard them say, oh, them Asians are savages. You hear that about the other group of people they don't like. But you never hear that about that. So I don't think they're trying to tranquilize them. And yeah, we never actually heard about them providing black communities with heroin and stuff. We only heard about the crack stuff. But I think it's just in general, like, I've been in this stuff. I know about it. I was involved. I'm pretty sure I was involved in fighting for the freedom for it before I got involved in the system. But I think it's something that happens when you choose the quest lines here or something that the things come to you. Like you choose things and people magically come to you. You're like, well, I'm going to go start producing movies and media today. And then next thing you know, you're dating someone in Hollywood and stuff. And that happened just so much. So I assume I got into that, and then I get shown, from the inside. Oh, I'm sure it was real fun. And good thing I don't remember it, because the only thing I remember about it is I didn't like that stuff, and I always felt pretty shady about it. I always felt it was pretty shady. First of all, I'm going to do whatever I want. And that's that. Stop me. They tried. Oh, yeah, that's right. They had their mental wards. I mean, they tried to drug me. They drugged me with some shit that about paralyzed me permanently. Right at the start of 2020. So, it's nothing new. I've been dealing with this for a long time, and I'm telling you, dude. You think they gave me amphetamines when I was a kid to calm me down? I mean, technically these days, if you give me some meth and some heroin will calm you down, most likely. But meth is supposedly makes people go, da, 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 da. And so they gave me the Ritalin to, because I guess I was asking too many questions or telling them I was going to fuck them up one too many times, as opposed to actually doing it, which I probably should have. I would just like to fuck with people when I was a kid. I didn't always fuck them up. That was usually an accident. Usually people didn't deserve it. Usually if I get to telling you, that means I'm in control and the other dude is not, so you're safe. But this stuff, man, this is not safe. I don't like this. I don't like having to live through this, and I don't like how it took 40 years to legalize, not take the fucking monopoly out of the terrorist government hands and all their little cult branded people and organizations that barely have an existence. Like I say, I think a lot of this labor is make up. You can't have a drug rehab. You can't have a drug rehab counselor if marijuana was always legal. It wouldn't exist. People with a problem, most of those people, man, they just couldn't afford it because it's so damn expensive. I go to the bar, I go to the club, I go to the rave, and I meet a lot of upper class people. Because you know why? Because normal people can't afford fucking alcohol. If you got a house to pay for and food, maybe you want to eat once or twice a week or something. If you can, after you pay your rent and utilities, and get you some clothes so they don't beat you for looking like a homeless person or something, or run you over with the car. I'll tell you what. Now, granted, I meet a lot of people like that. my life is a little bit different. But I do notice when people have the finest drinks at some of these clubs that we're not dealing with people like that. And I realize, like, even if I order the cheapest stuff at the club, there goes that week, dude. One night of drinking, the whole paycheck's gonna be gone. Once I'm done tipping, we're losing like 2 days pay over a couple drinks and stuff. And I'm telling you, I don't think that's freedom. I think that's still part of the network, the organization. I didn't make up this shit when I was a kid. People telling me it's a dream world and that's how I'm inventing it. Well, there's something else here. There's a predefined situation upon this planet, and I just get inserted frickin' a month after USA decided to go and start their war. The continued war in the Middle East. This is thousands of years old. Everyone in the world has been trying to fight for the center of Earth, Middle Earth. Isn't that odd, too? They're always telling us stuff, too. Middle Earth. That's exactly where all these wars are, aren't they? In Middle Earth. And you got the Eye of Sauron. Huh. That's not a cult sign used by all these groups I'm naming. Not at all. I'm telling you, man, like the stories within the story are so limited. Once you read 100 books, watch 1,000 movies, you've seen everything there is. Really, once you read 7, but it'll take you a minute to figure out that, hey, that's a vampire, wow. Hey, yeah, I remember that other story. It's called a vampire, too. You just call it Bram Stoker on this one. Anyways, yeah, so I don't have 40 more years to fight this stuff. And I don't really like that timeline. I don't like the timeline of how I was born. I go to a school, and the cops are playing this cool metal band called DARE, Drug Abuse Resistance Education. And they're singing a song about keeping kids off drugs, and now cops are just little low-key people who do what the government says. I'm sure. I mean, the cops are the right wing, dude. Like, all you got to do is tell them, hey, look, the government's acting corrupt. And they're like, yeah, well, but I work for it. So it's really that easy to talk to some of them and stuff. It really is. I mean, I go talk to the military. They got the streets boarded off, blocked off with Humvees and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, you guys know what's going on here, right? Like, you're not in control, and they're not in control, and there's someone else in control of things here. I'm like, just don't kill everyone once they say to go do that and stuff, because they might tell you that. Anyways, yeah. So, but those were the same people inside the city here, who would be sent to go burn down opium plants because they've been told it's so evil and so bad. Yet, they give you that. If you go there, Canada actually gives you fent nowadays, which is better because this other stuff messes with your mind. And I think it might be one of those kill drugs too. I'm worried about their chemical constructs, like the natural things that were always here. Have their place. I'm worried about the chemicals, and then we got to realize maybe I should be worried about the chemicals because the people selling the chemicals did electroshock therapy 20 years ago. If you smoke marijuana, not 20, 40 years ago. If you smoked marijuana 45 years ago and they sent you to a psych ward, did they do that back then? Because they did that like in the 90s, 2000 and stuff. They'd send you to one of these psychology people and get you some of their drugs. You know, you pay your $10,000 for your hit a pill bottle that month. Yeah, you don't pay it. Oh no. All the money it just magically appears, bro. It's just out of thin air. That's where it comes from. I mean, it is, but I think there's some sort of base storyline to what's going on Earth. I'm not sure how far we can just say resources are infinite and things like that, and we don't have to worry about stuff like that. And play against it. I know there's a lot of stuff I'm playing against very successfully right now, and I guess I'm stuck in the past where the real world existed and there was a base storyline going on here, and people are dying across seas because people here need to steal more land and burn down their cash crops so they can jack up the price area. Anyways, I'm repeating myself at this point, but I mean, this is it. How many times have I repeated this before in just different videos, broken it down into little sectional videos? And hell, I just was talking to a dude that like is their captive. I told you there's a prison out here. There's an open air prison. I always thought these halfway houses were like mental wards and stuff with gates around them, and as far as I knew, they were. But apparently now they're open. They're out in your neighborhood and stuff, and you're gonna. I mean, probably not in your neighborhood. If you can afford internet, you probably don't live on this block. But well, thankfully that's free now, right? I mean, I'd still had a better internet if it weren't, but we were supposed to get that free with the building and never got that either. Anyways, off topic. But yeah, the dude got offensive because I told him, like, hey, dude, like, I'm running for president. I'm waging war against these people. And he's like, you waging a war against me? It's like, dude, you are literally not. You are just a person they consider a degenerate drug addict. I didn't tell him that, but it's like, come on, dude. Like, now I'm talking about the system here that is telling you you're an addict and your life is just totally wrecked because of this. Because I can tell you, about everyone I know uses drugs. Okay? Charlie Sheen. Okay, you remember that? And he just didn't care. I mean, and he got so famous from that. He brought people like me who just liked some of his films and definitely don't watch Five Guys and a Hamburger-Sized Child, whatever it was called. And, man, a movie about a couple guys living with each other and another guy. I don't even want to know. I knew all about it because everyone else watches it. But, yeah, I mean, that's Charlie Sheen, bro. Wait, you got Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's famous from using drugs. Without drugs, he would have never gotten anywhere. He can't be Mr. Universe if he's not using drugs. These cops, these prison guards. What? That's not normal. You don't really get that big. Maybe if you provoke your testosterone growth really early in life, and I know carpenters who are like a little bit bigger and electricians, construction people are slightly bigger than me. But I also know people who are small as shit who admitted to taking steroids. And I mean, we had like Columbus's own bodybuilder, is that Flex Wheeler? He started wearing like 3 sweaters when he stopped working out, and obviously he stopped juicing too because he probably felt his career was over when he injured himself. Is it Flex or Coleman? Anyway, one of them, right? If you know either of them, you probably know which one. Anyways, Wheeler's definitely from here. And so, I mean, all these people using those drugs, but those are illegal. But, man, I'm telling you. So, and guess who sells those drugs now? Guess who I can go get those drugs from if I want them? That's right. Now, I can't get a choice of what I want. I can't just go in and tell the doctor. I mean, maybe if you find one like you're friends with or something, generally it doesn't seem like most people can go into a doctor and be like, hey, these are the drugs I've been. I can't even tell them. I can't even go in there and be like, oh yeah, well, you guys used to have me on Valium, and I take like 5 a year, and Yeah, I'm on all this stuff, Visceral, blah, 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 antibiotics, blah, 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 retinol, benzoyl peroxide, hydro, um, blah, 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 hydroxine, blah, blah, blah. And I can't even just, like, simply go in there and tell my doctor, like, hey, it's time for more of that stuff, right? I can't go in there and just make it about that. I mean, I did when I worked my way to getting to know people, things like that. And the doctors, they're scared. The ones who want to work with you are scared of what happens to them if the goons with guns come looking for them and think they sold too much of something to people or something. Sold too much snake oil. So they also got a limit, which oddly makes supply when they run out the suppliers, that makes a limited supply. When they burn down the crops, it makes a limited supply, and then that means you can jack up the price because there's a huge demand. But we only made 100,000 Lamborghini Diablos this year, so you get yours now because they're gonna sell out fast, right? Bro, this whole system, dude. It's just this one part, and a lot of insight into seeing this happening comes from seeing the other parts where it's a direct parallel to things going on. There shouldn't be some mad crazy tax on alcohol, you know, that makes it so it's so expensive to go outside to drink because the price is jacked up for them, probably jacked up for the distillery, probably has to have special taxes and rights to sell that in the first place. And then by the time it gets to you, it's like if you want to go like watch a band, you're spending like $100 to go see a local band, or a small band. You're spending like $1,000 on tickets alone if you go see Metallica or Avenged Sevenfold, something like that. If you want to see the band without a telescope, anyways. And then, imagine these festivals, dude. Like the raves too. Oh my God, that must be real expensive to go to a real rave, and not just something that's 12 p.m. at night to 6 a.m. or 12 a.m. the next day. However long everyone decides to keep going, and I could end up being like thousands on alcohol just to go to a little fast, weekend fast. And I'm telling you, like 40% of that has to do with prices being jacked up. At least 40%. I think that is like a really expensive item for a bottle of liquid. Just crazy prices there. And look at we didn't drop in price too much. Now, when I was on the West Coast, I would stop by stores, like pretty much. I mean, it was on every corner. I'm sure the gas station sold it, but I didn't go to gas stations. I went to the Weed Depot. It was on every corner. They had like 2,000, 9,000, 10,000 things, each of them different. And so a lot of them had in-house growing, and that's what I would often buy. And it was, some things were slightly cheaper. I was actually in Washington, so I don't know. I hear California taxes are pretty high, so might not have been the same in Cali. I didn't shop too much in Cali. Everything was completely dead when I was in Cali, so everything was shut down. I got chased away with guns by the people across the street from the Masonic Temple at the Ron L. Hubbard Scientology place. Because it's like, people aren't supposed to be here. Everyone's dying of the damn virus. Yeah. Okay, so, yeah. I would buy the in-house stuff on the West Coast because it was cheaper. I could get like 5 joints, $5. Now, that's what you should be expecting when something is legalized, right? But I also know that those joints were probably rolled like 3 weeks ago, which is old weed. When once your city adjusts to this, if you have weed that's 3 weeks old, you've got dirt weed. That's pretty much it. It's like damn joints all dried out, crystals and stuff. Man, who wants this garbage? But yeah, I still see it. It must be like they had deals too, so I got deals on stuff. But um, if I didn't buy the in house, I was still paying like $25 for an eighth or something, right? And I wasn't buying a whole bunch at a time because you don't need to when it's right there on the corner. So I'm sure you could have got a deal on an OZ or something like that. But then again, I don't know. A lot of the stuff there was sold, unless it was their in-house grow op. Then I don't think they often had mega deals for large batches. I don't remember looking into it. But I still think that stuff's way too expensive. Like, and look, it's just a repeated pattern in doing this. And then they're fucking these people up, telling them they got something wrong in their head. And you know what? You know what the problem with an addict is? A person who just, I don't know. Do you know? Because I don't know. As far as I know, what goes on? Yeah, I'm not addicted to anything. I either care to use it, or I don't care, and I might not use it, or I might hate it and not use it. You know, I don't understand this addiction thing. Maybe I'm just retarded and I can't figure it out, but I really think people are just doing what they want to do. They might be ignorant. They might be making dumb choices. They might be, like I said, ignorant. They might not know what they're doing, what they're involved with, the nature of this chemical substance, what it can do. I can tell you one thing though, going through drug rehab and education for smoking all that evil devil weed my whole life and growing it and stuff. I didn't get in trouble for that. I didn't get in trouble for growing weed. I got in trouble for smoking it. Or having it even, because I generally wasn't even smoking it around anyone who would be able to see it back then. And care anyways. But yeah, that's some crazy stuff they got going on. I'm telling you, dude. It doesn't make sense that it's there. Like, really, it's kind of like the whole game thing kind of makes a lot of sense about things where there's little quest lines and stuff. You know, Martha lost her dog or something like that. And you go find someone's dog 5-6 times, and like the sixth person ends up giving you like $10,000 or something, you know, like a randomized encounter. And I think these are little, well, not so much little. I mean, it's tied in directly to the main storyline that's happening on the planet, all the wars. I mean, what's more important than all this war and invasion going on in the world? They can enslave everyone here for smoking marijuana, but to me, the bigger problem is they're enslaving other people. They can do what they want here. Oh no, he's got them hashish and them opium plants that those Middle Easterners smoke and stuff. He got that Ritalin and Adderall and Chinese people take. I'm telling you, bro, it's not about that. It's not about hatred. They're pushing the hatred. They're pushing that stuff. That's their media. The same people owning all these, in charge of all these exact things. Same media telling you who to hate. They're telling you, ooh, reefer madness. Ooh, and now it's legal. Reefer madness made people lots of money. You know who didn't make money? A lot of weed dealers. A lot of people selling weed probably lost more than they made. I definitely didn't sell for a profit. I sold strictly to make sure that it was available for people. That's why I grew weed too. I didn't talk about my life now because I have to stay pretty clean. Since I'm running for president, I can't go around manufacturing meth. Not that I do, but anyways, that's another story. So that's that. And as this stuff should all end. This is crazy. There shouldn't be any sort of control and power tripping and all these people, these doctors and these counselors are so much better than this poor person who's poor because he spent $10,000 a week on alcohol and marijuana because it's so expensive to get it that you literally throw your life away when you get it and stuff. I was like, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure it's all that easily connected because it's supposed to be that easily seen.